We are just under the Ibiza. We're actually even catching some Ibiza radio. So we started from Cartagena, now we're here, Palma de Mallorca. We had a pretty miserable night, a lot of waves. It was around 20 knots headwinds, now we're down to 10 knots headwinds. And it's been like this for the last couple of weeks. Just cannot get good weather. After 2 weeks of headwind, we have sails up again. This is almost like 2 weeks we haven't been using sails and just waiting or fighting against the wind. We're still using one engine, so we're motor sailing, but we are kind of sailing and we expect more winds. So all the crew is on board, everybody woke up. How do you feel like after 2 weeks?
Great!
You see these sails for the first time, right?
Actually, no, just Genoa.
Oh, you see in Genoa.
It's a completely different feeling.
We woke up, everybody's here, anticipating.
Victory!
We have 8 knots of true wind speed, and then using engines, the apparent is like this. And actually we gained more than 1 knot. We gained around 1.3 knot of speed. And of course the fuel consumption goes down a lot, which is another good thing. And we're right here, halfway to Sardinia. This is Ibiza, Mallorca. And down to here, now we have 200 miles. And seems like these winds are gonna be on our side finally. How do you feel about the boat?
Great boat.
How do you like the doors into the saloon?
Not really good.
You don't like opening them, huh?
Could be better.
So these doors, now we're gonna demonstrate how it works. So first, there's many buttons, you have to find the right one. Then he clicks here. Yeah, then you have to figure out, and he already knows how to use it, but we'll just let him figure it out. Oh. Okay, so now it works. Now we open. So it goes here, clicks, and then you have to open the second one. And then this one, just to be able to enter. This was actually, you were the best you've done so far. This was like really good, you tried. So the thing with these doors is, this was really smooth what he did, because by now most of the people are just crashing these doors because it doesn't make sense. Too many buttons, too many sequences, which is all fine maybe if it's your boat, but this is a charter boat where people come here every week, new people. So it always breaks. And these doors are actually the same as on the Lagoon 40, identical than on Lagoon 42. So my feeling is they had these doors already, and why bother with new doors? Let's just use the same ones as we have and let the people bother with them. This is a big thumbs down, because it doesn't work, it's gonna break, it's dangerous for the fingers, and people are trying to figure out breaking it, like, why would you do this? And they already know that these doors are not easy. Even on Lagoon 42, it's a little bit easier to use because you just have to slide one section to go in. Here you have to slide 2 sections. So Lagoon 450, the boat before this one, had a much better solution. So there was one section here like a window. So you could just open this, and then just use one section as the doors, which was much easier. But now we have this, and I think this is really bad. I hate this. I just hate it, and everybody is like breaking their fingers. Anyway, maybe just me, but it's just not a good solution. Saving money where it really shouldn't be saved. And as soon as we put up the sails, the wind turned to better. And now the dolphins came, and more are coming. They always bring good luck and happiness. And it's a good sign. Dolphins are always a good sign that everything is gonna be okay. We're in the middle of the Mediterranean, and there's one big ship, one very big ship, and he's gonna go really close to us. So let's check on AIS how it looks. We can see from here that it's gonna be really close, so let's see, gale 1. Okay, now he turned a little bit more, now it's 1 mile. Earlier it was under half mile. So in 13 minutes we're gonna be 1 mile away, which is now safe. But you know, just from looking at him, yeah, you can say it's gonna be really close, and it will be. 1 mile is not much. It's a huge boat. It's a tanker, 300 meters, and looks scary. But well, I'm sure he sees us because it's nice weather. We have the sails up, and yeah. But without the AIS, it would be quite hard, you know, to judge what the distance is gonna be. Is it safe or not? All good this time. So he went far away, around 1 mile. And just seems like the bigger the boat, the more far away it wants to go. The smaller the boat it is, just tends to get much closer. So I kind of like big boats going away. And inside here we have, you know, this closed. It heats up a lot. Actually, we open the doors and it still heats up like crazy. It's like when you grow salad in winter. I can feel I'm growing also, but I'm growing because now when it's good weather, we eat too much. You grow salad and spinach and vegetables. That's what they do in South Spain, all that region. They have huge these greenhouses and they grow fruit and vegetable all the time, providing it for the whole Europe. This is always a good sign when our cook starts pulling out some secret ingredients we didn't even know we have. And it seems like we're getting something Chinese.
Jalapenos.
Yeah, these are like secret ingredients. Nobody knows how to use them. Only Nikolai knows how to do magic. Ginger.
Finally.
This is a nice sound. Motor sailing, we have Genova open. The winds are straight from behind. And you can see so much movement that the mainsail would just be flapping and we would just break it. And a beautiful sunset. And our chef just made this delicious Chinese style, how is this called?
Chicken.
Sails up.
Chinese chicken mixture.
Nichuan.
Nichuan. Oh, we have rice and this delicacy. Well done. It's always nice to have a good cook on board. We're lucky again. Otherwise, we would be eating sandwiches, and I would make some tortellini probably, and that would be the highlight of our culinary. This is like a really good restaurant afloat
In Mediterranean.
But what I noticed one thing is, you know, when Nikolai did it first time, we're like, whoa, well done, Nikolai. But now he set standard, and we just know it's gonna be really good. So it's really good, and it's just now normal. So it's a new standard. So we're not like, whoa, whoa, whoa. We're just like, yeah, Nikolai is cooking, so it's gonna be really good. It's really good, and that's how it is.
So the moral on board is important.
Oh yeah, food is important. Nikolai made these special pancakes which can be salty, they can be sweet, and then he warms it up so the cheese melts. Warm them up here so that the cheese melts.
It's yummy.
Yeah. Finally, we're having some nice downwind sailing. Around 25 knots of wind. Like finally. Though you can see the wave is really short. It's gonna get longer. We're gonna have 2 days of these winds. We have second reef on the main and full Genova, which is dancing a little bit because we go downwind. And it's in the shade of the main a little bit, so, and the wind still keeps changing because Sardinia is just up there. So here we have now 26 knots of wind, and surfing down the waves really well. We go 7.9, we're going up to 10 knots. It's a very steep wave, so the boat surfs a lot, now 8.3, and then stops a lot because you fall in between. but I guess they're gonna get longer and smoother during the day. And this is Sardinia up here. We are now wing to wing, so we have a mainsail on the starboard side and a Genoa on the port side, and it's attached with an additional rope to the cleat. We still have winds up to 24 knots. Now the boat is very stable, and see we're doing really good speed going downwind. And this is where the catamarans are really good. 7, the lowest, coming back, hitting 9.8 max, which is a very decent speed. And it's very comfortable. This is one of the angles where the catamarans are really good, much better than monohulls, way better. The only problem is that these cruising catamarans have this rigging set, which doesn't really work well downwind. It's really hard to set it. But when you have both sails on the same side and a little bit more angle, still going downwind, then it's good and up to, let's say, 90 degrees. But when you start going upwind, then these boats start going in the waves again, not so good. So straight downwind, if you can set the sails correctly, a little bit more work, or a little bit in the angle, even better, then these boats, that's where they were born for. Way better than monohull, really fast, really comfortable. Still having a jib and second reef on a butterfly wing to wing. It feels very safe here and balanced, but it's actually very tricky to sail the boat in these conditions. You don't want to mess it up. If you mess it up, you're gonna get in big trouble. So you have to watch a couple things here. So what you can do for safety is, so we have this another rope which kind of prevents from Genoa, going in, and also it's much more open on the top. And then for the main, we have here the preventer. You can see it in other videos exactly how it's done, but it's basically preventing from the boom going on the other side in case the wave pushes us a lot on one or each side. So right now we have a couple of factors which are affecting our sail, and one is surfing waves. So the boat tends to surf down the wave and then goes either left or either right. So if it goes on a big wave and starts turning too much left and the autopilot doesn't handle it well, then the Genoa is going to push in and then bang in. So it's a wear and tear, and it's a little bit dangerous. Even worse is if you get pushed to the other side way too much, and then the main sail, because it's now on this side, might go on the other side. And if this happens, then probably you're going to break a mast or the sail. So that's why we have this rope, as I've said. Just in case this would happen, this rope would probably, hopefully prevent it. That's why it's called a preventer. And then each time the wind changes speed and direction, you get in trouble again. This is because you get different forces on the boat. We really have to observe what the wind is doing. So we have the wind history, wind speed, and we're also observing it here. Apparent wind angle, very important thing. And we're also observing this instrument. So as long as the wind is here, we're okay. If it goes too much here, then the Genoa might crash. If it goes all the way here, we might have the boom fly over and break everything. So there's an angle of around 30 degrees. So like left and right 30 degrees, which we can sail, it's safe. But if for some reason the boat goes more, you're in trouble. So there is no clear answer how to do it. You just have to feel the boat. It depends a lot from sea conditions, how the wind is changing, the gusts. And you just have to figure it out and not break anything. This is actually quite easy on a catamaran, much harder on a monohull where you would really have to hand steer and work a lot. And in these conditions, the boat feels really safe because this is what the catamarans are kind of meant to be. They hold the stability really well. So the monohull would tend to go left and right much more because when the monohull heels, just the shape of the hull tends to push it, one way. And because it's heeling all the time, then the hull is, really pushing the boat. The catamaran is stable, keeping the direction because they don't heel and they don't get that effect of the hull. And also you have two narrow hulls, so it's like a train, just keeps the direction much better. Which is the problem on the other hand because the rudders have much more work to keep it straight if something happens, if it does, go left or right. And the rudders on these catamarans are pretty small, so when you get in trouble, it tends to take a lot of time to get back in shape. Whereas on the monohulls, you have big rudders, so it's a little bit easier, but then again, the boat is so less stable that you're in trouble again. So how do you reef? Why do you reef? How much sails? So right now we have 25 knots of true wind speed and apparent wind speed is 16. So these boats have these tables. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit. So basically this is if apparent wind angle is 40 to 70 degrees and this is more than 70, which we are now. And it says if the apparent wind speed is 0 to 20 and we are right now 15, so this would be us. You go full main and you go full jib. And we have a second reef right now, which means theoretically we could have a full main, but then what happens is on the wave you have too much main and just tends to rotate the boat too much. And also I think this is fast enough, so I wouldn't push the boat much more. But then let's take a look. So we have a second reef now. So if you look, second reef and 75% of the jib. So if we would furl the jib a little bit, we are good to 24 to 30 knots of apparent wind, which is basically almost double because you have to know the difference between true and apparent. So the apparent wind speed is right now 17 and we could go theoretically up to 40 knots with this, which I don't think would work well. But yeah, that's what this piece of paper says. And yeah, and I didn't mix the true and apparent. It says apparent wind speed. It might be an error here. This might be true wind speed. But shouldn't be an error, right? This is a Lagoon sticker. But definitely you don't want to do this, what we're doing right now with the full sails. Definitely not. Don't believe everything you read. You have to kind of feel the boat. If it goes way too fast and it's shaking too much, then you probably have too much sails. No matter what these tables say, you have to feel how much pressure is on the boat. It depends a lot from sea conditions, short, long wave, how heavy the boat is. So it's not just the tables, yeah. Feel the boat, don't break it. And how do you learn this? I don't know, I guess by breaking a boat and then you know where the limit is. Winds increased a lot, so we now reefed the mainsail. We have the third reef on the main. Still doing very decent speed. So yeah, we're back now to the very small third reef, almost no main, still full Genoa. Because what happened is the wind went up to 30 knots, actually 42 knots. Now we have 23 knots, so we were just way too quick. The boat was not under control, so we reefed. And actually the second we reefed, the wind went down. You can see here the history. See, so the wind, the gust up to 44 knots, and then immediately it drops. But when it hit 44, we immediately started reefing, because it might not drop and it would be way too much. So right now we're still doing good speed. We are doing around 6 to 7 knots. Right now 8.5, surfing down the waves. So now we're good up to 30 knots true wind speed, and then we can just furl a little bit of Genoa to reduce the speed, but we'll probably just keep the main as it is. even if the winds increase. So we had a big surf, so the maximum speed it says 17.6, although we think it was only 15. This is sometimes not correct, but it was at least 15 and a half, so big surf. And these boats, they feel safe up to 14 knots surfing, 16 maybe, but usually pretty scary at 16 already. It can probably handle, but you don't want to go more than 14. Once you start hitting 14 too many times, just reduce the speed. So I think the healthy speed is surfing like 10 to 12 knots. That's still healthy and comfortable. If you go more, I don't think it's smart anymore. So we have 26 knots of cruising speed, 17 apparent, and we're surfing up to 8.5, which gives us a very comfortable and safe ride, and that's what you probably should do if you go long distance. So Nikolai, what are you steaming? Is this a special new sauna? You feel Olympic?
I feel very Olympic today.
This is the best place to sleep, huh?
The best, I think. This is perfect.
Yeah, this place is the
5
calmest.
stars plus.
Yeah, it's actually the most calm place on the boat.
Yes.
I mean, other people go around and they bother you, but
I love it. I love it.
there's no noise, most air. We actually had a swim yesterday, so after 3 days on the sea. We're not really taking showers because we have to save water, because we're going to be on the sea now for almost 6 days. So it's only for, washing hands, brushing teeth. So yeah, yesterday we all jumped in the water. It's refreshing. But yeah, feels good to wash after a couple of days. Today Nikolai surprised us with this, how do you call this, warm sandwich.
This is our oven.
And this is unreal. This is so good. It's like well done. Really good.
Old bread, best bread.
It's not old, it's fresh. But
It's,
like,
but it's amazing. And Nicola is amazing cook.
this is how it looks when it's sliced. Really lucky to have Nikolai. He's a great crew member, amazing cook. He's gonna be a really good sailor one day, a good captain one day. He just seems to have this feeling for cooking, which I don't have. I can do the same, it's not gonna taste, when this tastes like prime, like 5 stars, like it doesn't get better, it's unreal. Whatever he does, even if it's just rice, it's so good. It's some people just have the feeling for cooking. I wish I had that. Yesterday night we came here to Lipari Islands, which is a very nice place. Doing the duties. And outside it's really bad weather. It's a typical rainy, windy, cold weather. So we'll stay here until this gets better and then we go towards Croatia. Otherwise, I've stopped here in Lipari Island. This is the old marina. Very good place. I like these islands a lot. Take a scooter, go around. Probably busy in summer. I just like coming here. So we are docked here to this pier. As soon as Nikolai starts making sandwiches, the sun pops out and the life is better. This is actually the second round already. There's some new delicacies and I mean, these sandwiches should be called St. Nikolai sandwiches. And then they go in here. Bit of olive oil. This wrist movement, this is like from years of experience cooking. And you cover it.
Done.
Test sandwich is done, so now we have to test and give the opinion to our chef. So let's see how it looks.
I will wait for 5
Really
minutes.
tasty.
Yeah, well, let's go. Is it? Oh, the sound is perfect, crunchy.
So if you're alive in 5 minutes, I will eat it. Also.
Hey, great.
Oh, okay, some
Great.
extra.
This will.
Well, Nikolai is doing magic with food anyway. Oh, come on, stop it.
Sorry. It's really good.
I have a little bit of bad news. I mean, it's all fine with the boat. Weather is fine. We're all healthy. It's all good. Everything is fine. It's just bad news that tomorrow Nikolai is going home. So this is our last dinner, and then we're back to canned sardines and cheese and bread. And this is what we're having. A beautiful sauce for pasta. It just looks unreal. And yeah, we're back to, we don't have even tortellini, we're to dried bread and cheese.
Yeah.
Pasta for the sauce.
For you guys. Hope you enjoyed it.
How was the trip, Nikolai?
Love it. Thank you for this chance. It's amazing.
How was the food?
Well, if I cook it for me,
You were eating well?
I didn't like the tomato soup, but so I've learned a lot. Was really once in a lifetime experience until now. So, but more to come.
I think that even Italians, and we're now in Italy, we're on Lipari Islands, I think even Italians would be proud on us because this pasta is like it's worth.
Al dente.
No, I think Italians will be proud what we did. It's like real pasta with real sauce. It's not what I do with ketchup and tuna. And then they say I'm torturing pasta and no, Igor, no pasta in ketchup, no. And I think it's just fine. What's wrong with pasta, tuna, and ketchup? It's just fine. I don't know. It's food. It tastes okay. But yeah, I'm not born Italian, so I think I just don't get it. I just don't understand it.
Can you
Bon
pass me
appetit.
one spoon, please?
We are leaving Lipari Islands. It's a beautiful day. The good thing is that it was raining a lot yesterday, so the boat is spotless clean outside. This is Lipari Island. Always love to come here. A great place. I've stopped here many times. And then there's another small island. I think it's very crowded in summer, but it's a great stop in winter. And all the way down there you can see the volcano, the famous Stromboli. And there is some smoke going out of it. Sailing towards Strait of Messina. So let's zoom out. So we're here, this is Italy. We were here on the Lipari Islands. And this is the Strait of Messina, famous passage. We have around 45 miles to get there. Very lucky with the winds. We have around 20 knots of true wind speed, and angle is also really good from behind. So we have just the Genoa, full Genoa, and no main. We could probably have a main, but then if the wind turns more downwind, then you have a trouble as always, sailing downwind. So main is now fixed. And as long as you have more than 20 knots of wind, the Genoa downwind gives you enough speed. Actually, like 25 knots of true wind speed is perfect for downwind. And then you can just furl. And then this just gives you a nice and easy sail. No trouble. We're lucky with the waves. You can also see that the waves are coming actually from the side. The wind is coming from the back of the boat. That's because we had a very strong north winds for 2 days. And now the wind switched, but the waves stayed. And these waves are actually still, coming from north. Eventually they will turn. So if you compare these catamarans to monohulls, on the monohull, the Genoas are always very big. And here on the catamaran, the main is also very big and the Genoa is relatively smaller than on monohulls, like normal charter monohull. So with all the monohulls, as soon as you have usually like more than 50 knots of wind, just open the Genoa and you fly downwind. It's not the thing on the catamarans, these cruising ones, because the Genoa is relatively smaller. So you need at least 20 knots, 25 even better, which is actually a lot of wind. And when sailing downwind with catamaran, let's say if you have only 15 knots of wind, you're in trouble because the main is gonna cause trouble if you put it up, so you better leave it down. And the Genoa alone is not give you enough speed, so that's why you need a big light Genoa or a Code Zero, so a bigger front sail. So my question is, why not just design a boat with a bigger Genoa and maybe a little bit smaller main like the monohulls have? Because many times this is what you do, you just open the Genoa, go downwind, so why not make this simple? And these mainsails, they're like, I like full button, big catamaran, everything is fine, square top, super fancy. But it's a hassle. It's not that easy. I mean, it's not hard, but it's work, you know, to put it up and all the ropes and the reefs, you know, it's not that easy. So sometimes I ask myself, wouldn't it be even better to have furling, you know, mainsail into the boom, which is performance disaster, but anyway, we're not racing and it would be so much easier. So why not have like a monohull rig also on a catamaran? So a very big Genoa, see, and just small furling main. Wouldn't look so nice, but I think most of the people renting would actually prefer that. This is probably one of the most perfect volcanoes, Stromboli. The shape is perfect, and you can see the smoke on the top. It's still active volcano. I would just call it a perfect volcano, like in a cartoon or in the movie. A beautiful Lipari island on this side, and then we have a Stromboli here. A great visibility today. And then on the other side, you can see Sicily, and right there it's Mount Etna. I've never seen it so well. Today it's really exceptional visibility. But just look at this, 3,000 meters high, I think it is. Mount Etna, it's a volcano. And you can see there's snow on top. What a view, so lucky today to see this. We are 2 miles from the Messina Strait. We just called to the Messina VTS radio via VHF to ask permission to enter. Although probably we wouldn't have to as we're a small boat, but we did, you know, just in case, to be polite. So just in front of us, and this is Sicily. And all the way down there you would get to Palermo, and then Lipari Islands just behind us. A beautiful day. This is actually probably the best conditions ever I had crossing Messina Strait. Big clouds over the Messina Strait. And there's a beautiful lighthouse, an old lighthouse and the castle. And this is the old tower for the electricity or something. And there's another one on the other side. There's no cables this day, but it's a very nice mark, you know, to see where the entrance to the Messina Strait is. And you can see down there, it's a beautiful beach. Water looks very nice. And you can see the rain, there's one cloud. There's not much there, but probably when the wind is blowing to the island, the air goes up, and then right there, condensates. It's actually pretty dramatic. Here's the lighthouse and the castle. Looks very nice. It looks like you just want to stop, and these houses here and the beach, it just makes me want to go here and explore. The other side of Messina Strait, this is the mainland Italy. It's very high. You wouldn't expect this, but these hills are, you see, pretty high, just keeps going. It would be probably very nice just to drive along the coast. There's a beautiful bridge. That would be, yeah, probably nice. You don't want to come here in the summer. It's way too hot, I would say. Down there, not sure you can see on the camera, but there's a ray. And that's exactly where we go. That's where our marina is. So the gods have just shown us where to go. Exactly this one. This is where we have to go. This is the sign. So Nikolai has to go home, so we're out of cook now. We're in trouble. And this is how we bring the water, because this marina, it's a great marina, but there's no water and we are out of water. So we're just using this big bucket and a lot of willpower and muscles, and of course it's kind of raining. And we're gonna fill up the boat around 600 liters with a 10-liter bucket. 600. Come on, come on. Yeah, don't spill it. You're spilling half of the water. So yeah, this is how you go. So 600 liters divided 10, he has to go 60 times. And the water, of course, is not close. The water is, so he has to walk all the way down there. The funny thing is that there's a water just across here, and I have a 50-meter hose, but they don't allow us to, just take the water across here to the boat, because there's a lot of traffic, and there has been no boat since we've been here for 2 hours. But otherwise, this is the Marina del Nettuno in Messina, a small marina, very professional people, but right now, so the ferry came in and there's a big wave coming, so let's just hope we don't break our boat here. Everything is now flying. Yeah, it's not like the best, most comfortable marina, but it's good for one night. It's not too bad. The fenders are gonna suffer a little bit, but otherwise we'll be fine. So how are you?
Oh, okay.
You're good.
Yeah.
We just lost the cook, so what are we gonna do?
Eat nothing.
We're on
Lose weight.
Oh, we're on a diet now.
Yeah.
Fitness.
Fitness, yeah.
Just chocolate and chips.
Oh yeah. And chips. And pizza. We see you again.
Somewhere in the
Yeah,
sea.
yeah. Come to the Adriatic to sail sometimes. Yeah.
To practice.
Nikolai was with us almost for 3 weeks.
I must say, I'm also proud of me. I'm happy. I'm reached a dream since I was small boy. So very nice time.
Bye bye. Nikolai, have a good trip.
Cool, eh? Evo ga. Dobro.
59 and this one is 60.
I don't spill the water. You're walking 1 kilometer and then you spill half.
A smo 8%. Bravo.
Messina Express, 35 knots downwind through the strait. You can see everything is white. Pretty cool. We didn't sleep much because this marina is very exposed and there's ferries passing and there was loads of swell, so not the best place for these wind conditions, but anyway, we were safe and fine. Yesterday we came from Lipari Islands to Messina Strait, which is here. See on the down, this is Italy, Messina Strait between Sicily and Italy. And now we go down here out of separation zone because, see, this is where you should not go. This is for the big ships. And I mean, you can go by the rules, but we'll just stay out, no problem, go here. There's a ferry down there, he has no ice, AIS. So I don't see him here, very unusual, but lucky that we spotted him. And now we are in a neutral with engines and we're doing around 5 knots, 5.5 knots, and the current is against us. The current is against us, so we're doing 6 knots through water, just like on the surface of the boat. No engines, no sails. This is how strong the wind is here. And down there waiting for that big ferry to pass. And there's loads of ferries, I would say like there's 20 ferries crossing all the time, and they don't care much about our small boats. And of course cargo ships, so now we have to cross this. It's like a mini English channel. What we just figured out is this boat does have AIS, but he's going reverse, and this is interesting to know. So he is this boat, and if you look carefully, he's moving backwards. You see? Because it's a ferry and he can go, like either side. And this is dangerous. Actually, he's going backwards. That's crazy. I think he should have something to switch that. I mean, this is really dangerous. You see, he's here going backwards, moving backwards across. We We have now 40 knots. It was 41 earlier. We're doing 7 knots speed over ground and our engines are all the way turned off. We're going straight downwind. And yeah, you can see the sea is basically boiling. Maybe you can see better behind. So this is how 40 knots looks. We're lucky that this is a sheltered water, so the waves are not gonna develop, but basically this is like for many smaller boats this is survival, and even for us we wouldn't be really able to go upwind, but very easy now to go just downwind and still 40 knots of wind, doing over 6 knots, 6.7, 40 knots of wind. It's pretty kind of cool and comfortable, but yeah, as long as you go with the wind. Yeah. And far there behind you can see Mount Etna now from the other side. There's some snow on the top. So, well, I can say it's a pretty cool experience right now. And yeah, everything should be fine. The winds are gonna drop once we get around the corner and everything's gonna be fine. Here's the wind history, and we just hit 44.1 knots. It was a huge gust. You can see the winds are actually kind of increasing, but it's also because we're going through this channel now, so this is where it accelerates, but then eventually, you know, as it opens, the winds are gonna drop and we turn around here. So we have, yeah, 2 hours to get to this point where the winds are gonna be just calm. There's a big ship under the Mount of Etna. It's easy for them to go upwind. Maybe they'll lose a couple of containers. But we're still having 40 knots of wind. And I'm not sure how it looks on the camera, but this is like a big gale. And this is when going against the wind is impossible. This is, you can see the land is very close, but the wave is super short, super steep. And this is the point of like no return. We cannot go back. And if you mess it, you know, and you have, you don't have, you know, enough leeway, how is it called? You're screwed. So always think, you know, like if you get conditions like this, you must have enough of space forward, because you're gonna drift. Actually works very nice for us now. It's comfortable and it's safe. But if there was land down there or shore, we would be stuck. This is why Biscay Bay is so dangerous. This is exactly what happens. These winds are pushing you in, and down there there's a shore, French low shore, and you cannot fight these winds. Eventually you can fight for a week, 2 weeks maybe, and now trying to go a little bit upwind, eventually you're going to be pushed ashore. So that's why in the old days there were so many shipwrecks there and accidents. But we're good, because this is a channel. The winds are going to drop more and more as we go further out. And we have enough space to drift all the way to Africa. Mount Etna, a beautiful view, good visibility with these north winds. Now we have 50.7 knots of wind speed. Now it's time to go around this punta. And the funny thing is, so the apparent wind speed is 37, and if you look at this chart, so going downwind, apparent wind speed of 34 knots. So that means the Lagoon suggests having 60 to 40% of the Genoa. Seriously, like he suggests that right now we should have 40 to 60% of the Genoa. I'm not putting even my underwear up on the mast right now to increase the surface area, and they say we should have half of the Genoa. And that's even more crazy. They say up to 50 knots of apparent wind speed, see it's here, you should have 25% of the Genoa, and that's apparent wind speed. And we're having only 30% of 35 knots of apparent wind speed. and they're saying that at 50 we should still have 25% of the Genoa. Now, who's crazy here? I don't think that's correct, and even if this would be a true wind speed, it still doesn't work. It's wrong. So winds have dropped a lot now, so we are, see, this was the worst here, but now as we're going behind, it's getting better and better. Actually, we just have a gust, but in general the winds, you see, this was the worst here, but now generally they're going down. This is the history of 1 hour, and so our tactics seems to work well. Now another question is, so there's also very strong winds coming here from Adriatic. There's like 50 knots or more right now in this direction. See, and then we have to go up. So you never know, these waves, you know, would, you know, kind of also to deviate a little bit to this side. So we're just not sure exactly what conditions we get here. But in worst case, we'll just wait a little bit, because around midnight already south winds start and everything is gonna calm down. And now the waves have really calmed down. There's like hardly any wave, maybe half a meter or less. And actually this coast of Italy is pretty nice. You can see this beautiful viaduct. It's kind of nice. It has to be really hot here in summer. A lot of nice beaches, like kilometers and kilometers. There's a lot of snow, you can see, and it's actually mostly on one side. It's probably because the winds blow from north, and then you know, the air rises, condensates. Really nice. Have to go up one there. Actually, I want to ski this. This would be a really nice tour skiing. Well, now as Nikolai went home, it looks like it's my turn to cook, which is not a good thing, but I've learned something from him, and now I'm doing some special eggs. What I did is I chopped loads of onions, and now I'm just like, how do you say, doing this. And then I'm gonna add this. This is all kinds of stuff like red, green peppers, broccoli, and cauliflower, how's it called? And then I have loads of eggs, and I put inside rosemary, thymian, oregano, and some salt. And then I'm gonna add these tomatoes. And I have also defrosted bread, because we have some, we still have, this is the freezer. So we put fresh bread in, and then you just put it out, defrost, and now I'm warming it up here on the sun. So we get a very good bread. It's really calm now outside. So just 2 hours ago we had 50 knots. So we came through there through Messina Strait, and now we're behind the Italy, and there's practically no wind, so we're just running an engine. Almost looks like summer in Croatia. It's getting hot. Time for the t-shirts and some good meal I'm preparing.
Great weather.
It's a surprise. It's like Kinder Surprise.
Kinder Surprise.
You never know what you get.
Eggs for sure.
It's like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you get, as Tom Hanks said. The hills are kind of unique. And there's some like, it's nice, it's nice. One day I'm gonna go here with the car, with the camper, just to explore Italy and Sicily. But definitely not in summer. I'll come here in March, April, and then it gets too hot. I have now added to the onions all these vegetables, mixed. And I'm gonna wait until this gets a little bit more soft and cooked. We're having one of the best sailing conditions I ever had in this area. Usually we have headwinds around here, but today we have south winds, and this is, it's really nice to have. We're sailing towards Otranto, on the hill of the Italy. Second reef of the main, because we expect some more winds. Full Genoa, and just gliding towards Otranto Strait. That's the strait between Italy and Albania. This is Italy. We are down here. This is the Otranto Strait between Italy and Albania. We expect a little bit more winds here. That's why we have a second reef already. And then we go up towards Split, which is here. We're having this perfect angle. See, True wind is 133, but the parent is 109. Around 20 knots of wind speed. See, pretty steady. Just reached 7.5 speed over ground. So it stops and then we surf again. We reach 7.5 again in the surf. So the boat just keeps surfing. We have 40 nautical miles to the Leuka. It's a very nice marina here, and then we're gonna turn up.
Perfect conditions. Wind slowly rising. The angle is good, so nothing better can be.
Is this the best sailing day we had?
I don't know. The best? Yeah.
Which day was the best for you?
I mean, the most exciting.
Well, yeah.
Most exciting was to Messina Strait, because 50 is once in a lifetime for the most of the sailor.
So there was no sails, just
No
bare
sail,
poles.
yeah. Sailing with no sail. Yeah, that is the experience, but this is perfect. And we have a few good angles and speed over the 14 knots. And
So what do you think about the speed of the boat, like generally, how it sails?
downwind very good, stable, up to 14 knots. Above, maybe not too much stable, but for the pleasure boat, very good.
Lagoon 46. It actually pretty good sailor in certain angles, which would be, like this one's upwind, a little bit trouble when you go in a very choppy short wave, and when you go straight downwind, kind of hard to set sails. But yeah, for these angles, which are the best ones anyway, it's kind of surprising how well it goes. It just wants to go. So very easy to reach speeds 7-8 knots in some decent winds. If you push it a little bit more, it's pretty easy to reach 9, 10, 11 knots. But that's already pushing a little bit in a very strong winds. So probably with the code 0, it's gonna be a pretty decent sailor in Croatia. So overall, I would say a good boat for charter, for Croatia, Caribbean, swimming. It's a very pleasant boat to be on, a beautiful design. It's very well, designed inside, as I've said. It does sail if you want to know day sail and you know the winds and you go for a nice sail, you're gonna get a nice sail. But then again, if you want to go around the world, well, these boats were not built to go around the world. You want to go some heavy weather sailing, all these boats were not built for heavy weather sailing. Although they would survive going around the world, they survive very heavy weather, they don't fall apart. They're well built, but they're just not designed for this. So if you want to go really rough around the world, maybe look at something else, or just maybe a few upgrades on this boat and then take it easy would also work fine. But these boats are built for charter, for fun, for families, for swimming, and they are perfect for this. And this Lagoon 46, definitely a very good choice for summer sailing, relaxing, swimming, cruising, and you'll get everything. Comfort, you'll always get a couple of decent sailing days when you have a good angle. So in the end, everybody should be happy. The sailors and a little bit less sailors looking for comfort. So overall, a decent boat, but again, there's no perfect boat. Flying through the Strait of Otranto, great conditions. Winds from here, never had such a good winds here. We're usually headwinds from north. Quite a lot of traffic going on. And just look at our speed, we're constantly surfing down the waves. We have now 30 knots of wind speed. And we just keep flying. See, long surfs, it just keeps going, 11, 11. Really good conditions today. So here is the wind history. It's like averaging 25 to 26 knots. And we're sailing on the apparent wind angle around 140. We actually have set wind autopilot on wind. And now it's set on 148 of true wind angle, and this is what gives us these great sailing conditions. The waves are not too big yet, So the boat is totally under control. We have a full Genoa and the second reef on the main. And just look at the speed. We just keep flying, keep surfing the waves. And if you look at the average of the last, so in the last 50 minutes, the average speed is 8.5, and that's pretty good. Early morning, we arrived to Croatia, to Lastovo, to Ubli. We're gonna do customs here. And down there, you can see this mysterious fog coming out of the port. How do you feel? Cold?
Oh, it's freezing.
Like
Smoke on the
Freezing.
water.
polar bear?
Smoke on the water. Yeah.
Well, but you seem to be happy to be home.
Yeah,
Home is home.
it was
Home sweet home.
Yeah, it's,
fantastic trip. Yeah, but thanks God we are near home. Home sweet home.
what a beautiful day we have. It's the beginning of February. It's calm. It's like the best conditions we had since leaving France. And the beautiful Croatia, the islands. You can see island Hvar down there. And we're just passing island Korčula. And whenever I come here, I can feel like this is probably the best place, one of the best places in the world to come sailing. I think you really should come. It's not just because I'm from here and I like this place. No, this is really a jewel. You should visit Croatia. Maybe check my other videos and you'll see how it looks. Here we are, passing Vela Luka. This is where Oliver Dragojevic, the most famous Croatian singer, was. And I love his songs. So we came to Lastovo, we did the customs, and now we go straight to Split. Let's zoom out and see what we've done, how it was. So we left France, Les Sables d'Olonne 1 month ago. Had a pretty good conditions crossing, then caught really strong winds, and we were flying 10-11 knots along the Portugal coast. Eventually the winds calmed down here. We used the engine to get to Portimao, where we were stuck for 5 days because the winds were just blowing this way for Gibraltar, and they've been, I think, for 1 month. They kept blowing, so it was just a miserable experience. Well, eventually we fought through against the winds, came to Gibraltar, waited 2 days there until we just had to fight through to get to Cartagena. So all this was just fighting against the winds, against the waves, and it was really miserable. Then from Cartagena, it got a little bit better. Still the first day I was fighting up until we got here, and then we got these winds. So basically from here we were much luckier. So we flew with high speeds to Lipari Islands, where we stopped for 1 day because the winds were just too strong. And then we continued down to Messina, where we stopped again because the winds were too strong coming down from Adriatic. And then had those 50 knots from behind through the Messina Channel. Eventually used engine for this time here. And then we got good winds and then just sail until here. Used a little bit of engine, and now we're here having these best conditions. It's basically like a dream. I can already feel the Croatian summer coming. And it's beginning of February and it's so nice here. There's no boats, beautiful colors. So yeah, even Croatia in the winter, it's well, it's not the best time to come sailing, but you can see it's beautiful. The boat is in one piece, the crew is fine, everybody's happy. I think it was a nice trip. It was far from easy. All these winter deliveries are far from easy, not for the boat, not for the crew, mentally, because it's hard. But in the end, the reward is it's nice. Not maybe worth it, all this suffering for 1 month, but it's really nice to come here in such a nice weather back to Croatia. So keep sailing, enjoy, see you next time.